Crafty friends, I thought I would come on today and show you how I recycle old packaging and how I package my handmade embellishments. So this is by no means new information, but it's a great way to get these cellophane bags out of your stash. If you were doing like an Etsy store, there's all kinds of different options. So these three are more for like flat mail. You can see they're not very dimensional. And sometimes I'll make these little embellishments and I'll gift them in Happy Mail. And sometimes I'll just package them up for myself and then I'll go back through and I'll use them up. I love these stamp embellishments. I'm going to make so many more of these. So this one is a little bit more dimensional and you can see it's a bit warped. I basically just created a crepe paper rosette and then threw some lace and a funny looking flower on the top. So these would be a little trickier to mail, but still very doable. Same sort of idea here. And this one, I just threw a doily on top. So basically, the idea is if you have one of these dollar store sticker sheets, you can cover the whole header with scrapbook paper and then just use the rest of the packaging as is. This one also had a barcode and some other stuff on the back, so I just covered it with a little baggie that I'm going to fill with some other goodies. And I did the same thing here. And then these ones were, yeah, this is actually the paper from the packaging as well. And I just flipped it and covered it with some old atlas paper and stuck my embellishments down. I just used my ATG gun to do that. I know a lot of people use hot glue, but I also like the idea if somebody wanted to try to use the paper behind it, they can totally do that. There's more of those little stamp embellishments. And I can't take credit for this. This is a gorgeous packaging. This was gifted to me from one of my friends in a crafty group, and I just found it in my stash and I thought I would reuse this packaging and package up my embellishments. So I will kind of show you the process. Get these things out of the way. So basically you start with your sticker packaging. And I just happened to buy 4 packages of stickers. So all these packages are the same size, but you can basically cater the embellishments to the packaging you're using. So I thought on this one I'd be able to show you how you can cover and make it all custom. First thing I'm going to do is remove these little price stickers. 80 price stickers removed. And I'm just going to get these out of the way because they're going to have my camera being all crazy. So now I'm going to go grab some paper. This project is a great way to use up scraps, especially those like narrow pieces of stuff. That's not quite right. I mean, we can make that work. All right, so we will do the first layer, which is the layer on the front. Apologies if you can hear some humming in the background. Our heat pump is working overtime. It's actually going to go up to be 35 degrees Celsius today with the humidity, so it's working hard to keep the house cool. So I'm just going and trimming off the extra pieces, and I'll be throwing those in my scrap bin for my next crafty session. Alrighty, front panels done. Now, back panels. I'm going to see if I've got any more of that atlas paper because this is quite long. So I'll be right back. Yep, plenty more where that came from. All right, so I'm just going to rip these edges down and I'll be back. All right, and now you just basically repeat the same process that you did for the tops. So I will use my glue stick and start sticking these down. I guess something else I can mention here is if your paper is directional, you want to try to stay with the direction if at all possible. This one I didn't really. And I've got enough paper here, I could probably wrap it over. So I may just recover a couple of these. I'm just actually using some of the glue sticks that the kids didn't end up finishing at school this year. So this isn't my normal go-to glue. I like the one that's a purple glue stick, just so you can see where you've put glue down so you don't have to go over it or have any spots that you miss. Also, this part of the video is sped up 8 times, so sorry if you're getting a little bit of motion sickness from all of that, but this video ended up being over 45 minutes long, and it was really jamming up my phone, so I wanted to make sure I got this done and uploaded today. All right, so my scrap bin is overflowing because those pages were huge. All right, I'm actually kind of thinking I might use this side. And basically, these particular packages go all the way to the top. Sometimes they have a seam. Let's see if I can find one. Yeah, so this one had a seam. This is also dollar store stickers. These are amazing. Because there's a little flap at the top. So these were like St. Patrick's Day stickers. So I just pulled this out, flipped it, covered it, and back in. And again, great way to use up your scraps. And this little plastic is getting reused, and I don't feel as bad about buying stickers that are in plastic. This is also a great example of me using a paper in the background that I'm not a super fan of. You can see I used it a couple of times. This was just a tea-dyed notebook page. You can see I did the same sort of thing here, only I think that was craft cardstock, and I just left it a frame. Same sort of idea. This one I didn't really cover because it was already kind of a neutral color. But yeah, all right, let's get back to this one. So now what to do? Well, now what I like to do is start laying out my embellishments. And again, depending on how you're going to package them up, I like to try to group things that are similar together. I might actually use that as a topper. Oh, somebody's complaining. I'm so sorry about your life. It's terrible. So you can do something like that. You can go fully symmetrical. I don't think I've got enough of these little circles for this particular package. So I may stagger them and then maybe offset it with some little die cut flowers or I'll find something else. But basically that's kind of how I go. And this is extra useful because it's got a line there. So a lot of people will use, like I said, hot glue for this part. But I don't really want to use hot glue. It's also just kind of extra fussy. And these are very flat, so they don't need a whole lot of extra support. The hot glue, I find, also adds some weight and some bulk. So that's basically it. You can see they're not going anywhere. So I will do the other 3 and I'll be back. So I'm just trying to sort these embellishments by like similar color themes, or I think this one was kind of like leaning into the hearts, and there's a lot of black on some of these embellishments. So I'm just trying to group them based on the kind of papers that I use to make it look like a set. All right, so I basically filled up these little papers, and I grabbed a couple of extra embellishments just to fill in the gaps. And then I also grabbed this. More on this later. But basically, I wanted to see if there was anything I could kind of throw on here just to fill this out, because it's looking a little sparse. I guess while I'm doing this, I can talk to you a little bit about this massive tray. So yesterday I went through my Alex drawers, sorry for the crinkling, and pulled out all of the little bins that I have, like this, that have some of my embellishments in them. Some are homemade, some are stickers, some are die cut packs. It's just whatever. And I threw everything in this tray from IKEA. Oh, is that too big? Oh, rats. So I wanted to kind of start purging. I guess purging isn't the right word. I'd like to start using some of the things that I have been collecting in my stash. What do we think of that? Maybe if I scooch that one up and scooch that one up. This is another really good reason to use double-sided tape. I mean, I can work with that. And then maybe use that as the topper. Okay, so yes, this tray is now full of things. And you can see some of these are die cuts that I bought from the dollar store. There's more of these kinds of things in here, rosettes. There's some leaves and flat. It's just everything. So I wanted to pull this out and set myself a challenge to try to use most of this, if not all of it, up by the end of the summer. So I'm going to put a dent in these, my ruffle rolls, and we will use those for the packaging. And that thing is massive, so it just has to be on the floor. So this is kind of where we are. I want to put a little something on the back of these because they're a little flimsy. I'll be right back. Teddy, leave it. Somebody has been playing in that drawer. I put it on the floor and the dogs go right for it. So I'm just basically cutting out a couple of little pieces of craft cardstock to glue on the back of these and beef them up a little bit. I may have to go see if I can find some leaves for that flower. It's looking rather plain. just. I'll use it on that one. All right, so I'm going to see if I can find a couple of leaves to go, and I'm going to cut this little one down. It's just a smidge too big. Yeah, so basically, besides the packaging, all of these little embellishments were made using my scraps. So you can see some Maggie Holmes there. And I actually wanted to show you what I did. So, you know the cover of paper pads where it's like that extra thick cardstock, but it's got samples of the patterns on the inside? I die cut these from that. And this is also from that. Nothing goes to waste in this house. All right, I am going to go see if I can find some leaves for this. Found a couple. And I'm not being overly fussy about, she says as she unglues things, I'm not going to be overly fussy about the colors and, you know, make sure they match or anything. The goal is to use up my stuff. I mean, I don't love that. Maybe if I ink it, it'll help. Here. Yeah, I think that needs to be inked. All right, I will be back. All right, so these are more or less ready. I could go through and ink the edges of this one, but I don't think I'm going to do it for anything else. And I'm leaving this space empty for a reason. So yeah, if you have a lot of DIY embellishments and you're looking to gift, or these would also be great if you're doing like card kits or craft shows or any of that. So basically, all right, let's do this one. Oh, almost forgot. Sorry, I reorganized my desk and I'm still learning where I put everything. Like my handmade with love stickers. There we go. Yes, don't forget to sign your work. And I like to date mine too. All right, so that's one. I will put the rest of these in their cellophane bags and I will be back. All right, so I just finished this one. So I left this space open specifically for this flower. And now it's the only flower not inked. Fix that. There. And again, I just used my ATG gun and done. So that, sorry, I just dropped my ink dauber and I don't want the doggies to get it. So that is that one. And I mean, I'm pretty happy with that. So we'll put that guy aside. And now what to do with these. So these ones I left a space at the top here, as you can see, for a reason. Yesterday, I did some sewing. This is actually a grocery bag. What's this? Whatever's left of that. And my thought is to go ahead and stick this down. And I'm thinking I might just use my ATG again. Yes, I think I will. Never fails. Run out of glue while filming. Yep, I think that's going to stay nicely. Cut off the back. My scissors are all gluey. All right, and I might do that on this one. Oh, forgot. Gotta swap my ATG. All right, so after much fussing with my ATG gun, I got all of these glued down, and that was the entire plain strip of paper. So I used that whole thing, which is amazing. All right, so I kept a couple of these aside. So just kind of more embellishments in the same sort of style or theme. I feel like this should probably go over here, and this one should go here. Yeah, probably. All right, and for this part, I think I will probably need my hot glue gun. So I could have hot glued this down, but I don't really trust the plastic. And the other option too is you can actually put this packaging in and sew it on, but I like to be able to kind of slide the whole paper in and out, so that wouldn't have worked. So I will be back. I'm going to go grab my hot glue gun. I probably didn't need to use hot glue for this. Regular liquid glue probably would have worked just fine. All right, so the last thing to do is kind of give them something cute. So I might do a couple that say Happy Mail, maybe one that says Special Delivery. Yeah. So I'm just stamping these little sentiments on a scrap piece of white cardstock from my stash, and I'll be just cutting it up and using it to help decorate the toppers on these gift bags. So, and I don't end up loving that Happy Mail stamp, so I'm gonna do a couple more that say Special Delivery, I think, just because the Happy Mail, the title was a bit too long for the bags, so no big deal there. And I did most of this in fast forward, so you didn't have to watch me struggle with my stamping like usual. All right, I have to wrap this up because the shadows getting cast across my desk are getting a bit crazy. So this is the one I did on camera. These are the 3 I did when I was kind of in fast forward mode. And then these are all of the options that I showed you from the beginning of the video. So there we go. Have some fun packaging up some handmade embellishments or using your scraps and getting some things out of your stash to do Happy Mail or card kits or whatever you like. All right, friends, as always, thanks for coming to hang out with me, and I will see you next video. Bye for now.